with G. Scott.
He needs no introduction. Super Bowl 48 champion, 13-year NFL career, one of the baddest D-tackles to ever do it. And by the way, make sure you guys go and vote on Seahawks.com, the top 50 Seahawks players ever. Bang, listen, man, I'm not publishing mine public. I don't want anybody to know because I don't want some of you and your friends to be mad at me if I did not get them on my list. However, I will tell you, you are on the list.
Nice. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Why you not publicizing your list, G?
You said what?
Why you not publicizing your list?
Because it's 50 and only 50 get in. You got to understand, I've been around the Seahawks for 21 years. I know a lot of people, so I don't want nothing personally. Here, I'll tell you what. I got you on there.
You're right.
I got Leroy Hill on there.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying? And people don't know, Leroy Hill was a bad man. Remember, he played with one team for 8 years.
Yep.
And respectfully, I'm going to say this about Leroy Hill. If Leroy Hill didn't mess up off the field, that dude would be gone down as one of the best linebackers out there. He was that good.
Yep. I agree with you.
All right,
I agree with you.
People don't care about this right now. Let me tell you what everybody in Seahawk land got to say. Producer Frank, Paul, Brady, everybody. Man, Bane, a lot of folks need, the Seahawks need the help. They need to win in Atlanta against the Falcons. They've been on a 3-game losing streak. Bane, help us.
Okay, first of all, man, the Atlanta Falcons, man, okay, they're a team with a new head coach. The Atlanta Falcons, man, they're kind of not on the same page as Detroit, but they're similar to kind of Detroit. They want that same, they do that same type of style. They want to run the football. They use multiple tight ends for, the mismatch purposes. And they grind, man. They grind. They're gonna grind you to the start to the finish, and they grind, and they not playing.
So you think the Atlanta Falcons are maybe not as good, but similar to the Lions?
Yes. I think they want to play that style of football where they want to hit you in the mouth up front. They run the ball. They have a balanced offense. They got a good defense. It's not gonna be an easy game, man. This is not something walking apart, man.
Well, there's a lot of people watching right now, and one of the things that you and I talk about when we go over the film together, and I want to bring this to the screen because there are a lot of people that believe, well, you need this player. Right. And you keep telling me, gee, it's not necessarily the player. It's as simple as getting lined up correctly.
Properly. Right.
All right, let's put the film up. What's up?
All right, so right here, so we're going to stay right here. We're going to pause, right? So we're going to look at the offensive. We're going to talk about it from the offensive standpoint, right? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut it in half. We're going to cut it in half from the center to the left side of the offense, right?
Okay.
So we're going to count, right? So start with the running back. We have 1, 2 is the quarterback, 3 is the center, 4 is the guard, 5 is the tackle, 6 tight end, 7, right? Okay, you have 7 dudes right here that you have to count for, right? Okay. You have to count for the quarterback because the quarterback could run the ball too. He have a decent legs. He can outrun me, so he got some decent legs, right?
Okay.
All right. So how many guys lost count, man?
So we got 7. You got 7? The center, quarterback, running back, that's 3.
Here, right?
You got the left guard, that's 4. You got the tackle, that's 5. And you got 2 linebackers, 2 tight ends. That's 7.
So,
7 right there.
So I think before we blow it up, I think I want to say this is 12 personnel. I can't see the other side yet, right? Okay, let's count the Seahawks defense, right? So let's count the defense. Let's count. Okay, you got the nose. You got 1.
Okay.
You got the linebacker 0, 2. You got the defensive end right here that's lined up. I want to say he's like an inside shade on the tight end, which is a 6, maybe a 6, inside 6 eye. I don't know. let's say it's a 6, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 guys, right? And
7
number
against
20,
4.
I'm right, 7 against 4. Now the numbers on that is like, oh man, that's tough, right? So as a defensive lineman, right, what I would do is as his nose right here to try to kind of like even it up so you can draw a double team.
Yeah.
The nose, he should line up inside shade on his guard, right? Line up inside shade on his guard, right? The defensive end that's lined up in the 6, you could say he could stay there, right?
Mhm.
But he has to be aware of he could possibly get a double team from the tight end and the tackle, right?
Right.
But the tackle, he's going to try to cut off number 94, so he's coming for him, right? And then both the tight ends are going to work their way up to the next level. This guard is going to work his way up to the next level, which he want to get onto the linebacker. Now, as a defensive lineman, you don't want the offensive lineman to get to the second level. You don't want them guys putting their hands on them, right? You pay us to put hands on the offensive lineman, right?
Mhm.
So that's the thing on that one, right? Okay, so obviously this is an inside stretch to the offensive left,
Okay.
defensive right.
Uh-huh.
All right. So and then this linebacker backside 17, right? If you see all these numbers over here, right? I as a linebacker, I would cheat over, right? Because they're telling you where they're going to run. They're running to the side where they have multiple people,
Right.
right? And so the job on this nose, whenever you see a nose, right? Whenever you see him play head up on the center, his job is to play backside. Well, when you have 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage, I don't want him to play backside, right? That's not the time to play backside. I need him to play to line up inside shade on this guard, and I need him to draw the double team between the guard and the center.
Right.
I need you to take 2 for me on this one.
So
you got to take one from the team.
real quick, and,
Right.
and before we get ready to play it, what I'm saying to
Right.
you is that you're basically telling all of us, everybody listening, that it's 7-on-4 right now.
Right.
And no matter who the
7 on
players
4.
are, because the way they are aligned, and they're not aligned properly, they're going to
Right.
get beat, which, by the way, when you play it, we see exactly that. Let's play it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's play it. Right. Okay, can you do me a favor, right? Can you zoom like back out, like start at the beginning and zoom out?
Okay.
Is that possible?
Uh,
Because I have to show you something backside now, right? Okay, now backside, you can't see the defensive end. So you have a 3 technique, you have a linebacker. We're not counting number 2, Rayshon, the safety, right? You're not
Okay.
counting him, right?
Right.
He's not technically really in the box.
Okay.
Okay, so you have backside, right? Now backside, this is where the problem comes, right? So you have a 3 technique, you have a linebacker number 17, and you have a defensive end he's not in the picture right now, right? So whenever you run inside zone, right? Whenever they run inside zone, it's an aiming point. It's a point to where the running back goes to his first gap. And once he goes to his first gap, he's going to actually cut it back, right? He's going to cut it back straight up field. He's going one way at an angle, and then he's going to cut straight up field. When you playing backside, whether your nose or 3 technique,
Okay.
if you run down the line, keep running down the line, I guarantee you will make that play. Guarantee you will make that play. Because most people in that position that runs backside, the defensive lineman that's backside of a zone, if they run, you will make so many plays. I can't tell you how many plays I made on this right here. But the key to all this is, right? If the guy that's on the tight end, he got to do his job, right? He has to keep it to where the running back is don't have those lanes. And then the nose has to do his job, right? They all got to knock these guys back, right? It all starts up front. If they do their job, then that backside pursuit will come down the line of scrimmage and it'll be a game for maybe 1 or 2 yards. Now, I want you to look at the guys backside, right? They stop pursuing the ball and it's 2 guys that cut 3 guys off, 77 and 68. They cut off, and the center cuts off the nose too. Remember I was saying,
Yep.
when you playing head up, he playing backside.
Yep.
I don't want you play backside. We need help front side. So they literally have 4 dudes that's cut off. They create a wall. Look
Stop
at this
right
big
there.
lane, right?
You can see
They cut off
if you-
4
if you
guys.
do the arrow, Brother Paul. We can see the center,
Right.
right? Nope, right. Yep, you can see that,
Right there.
and you
Yep.
can see the
Yep.
backside end. Go, yep,
Right.
You both taken
off.
care of out of the play.
He's cut off. No, that's the end. You can't really see it. He's right here. It's kind of blurry. My bad. I recorded it. That was my fault. But you cut 4 guys off, and the 49ers used 3. See 1, 2, 3, 4 Seahawks cut off. Had these guys pursue down the line of scrimmage, like I said, it'll be a game for maybe 2, maybe 3 yards at the most, and it wouldn't be an explosive run like this.
Right.
And also,
and by the way, they had another explosive run for 77 yards in the fourth quarter towards the end of the game.
Right.
So let's go back to it. Go back to talking about this. Bane, listen, man.
Yep.
The Seahawks, for some reason, and I hope they get this fixed, but they've been giving up a lot of rushing yards. And from a lot of teachings by you, it feels and seems like that when you get on defense, there's 3 simple things that needs to happen. Your assignment, excuse me, your alignment, your assignment, and execution.
Right.
Those 3 things.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that in any order. I mean, it don't really matter at the end of the day as long as you do it.
So of those 3, you're seeing the problem is the alignment first.
It's the alignment. It's the alignment. It's definitely alignment. They have the personnel to do anything that they want to do, but it takes communication, understanding what the team is, how they're trying to attack you, why teams are trying to attack you. And teams see that the alignment is the issue on other teams when they play.
You think
Seattle,
they see it?
They like, oh man.
You think they see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yes.
You think the Seahawks see it?
I'm gonna probably say no because it's been happening for at least 4 weeks.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah.
They're not adjusted.
You've been calling it for 4 weeks, but let's just say the Seahawks do see it right now. Let's say, okay, you know what? Not to say that they're listening to this podcast, because what do we know? Anyways, let's just say that they do see it. How long does it take to fix the alignment situation?
Shoot, one meeting.
Okay.
One meeting.
Okay.
And
so
like
we
I
should
said,
see better. I would assume that they know. We should see better against the Falcons.
Right. I would think so. Because like I said, the Falcons, that identity that the Lions, who did they play after the Lions? The
Giants.
The Giants
ran for 177 yards.
And 49ers, they all
ran for 229.
Have that same type of mentality. Right. The Lions, to me, was the best run team that they're going to face this year. I think so.
I think so too.
But everybody is following that.
You called the Lions from the very beginning on how good they're going to be.
Bully.
Because
the Lions
you said they bullies.
They're bullies. I think the Lions is the best NFC team.
Wow.
I think they're the best NFC team.
You said something to me also while watching. You said Geno Smith, in your opinion, is and would be the best quarterback in the league if he had this. Tell me what you were talking about.
Okay, so now when I say this, I'm not saying this because I like Geno. I do like Geno. This is my former teammate. I think he's a good dude personally off the field. I think he's a good player on the field, right? Now, this is the thing, right? And this is what a lot of people don't really understand when it comes to football, right? So when it comes to football, right, in order to get your quarterback in rhythm, in order to get your offensive line in a rhythm, now we go back and say this word, football is the ultimate team game, right? Sometimes, man, as a good offensive lineman, you need help, right? And so when I say you need help, you can't start the game off with 5-0 protection. Sometimes you have to start the game off 7-man protection, 6-man protection, something to where it's like, hey, man, I need help slowing this dude down. Whenever they want to double me up front, that center wasn't. He didn't have pride. He like, hey man, I need help. Let's double this dude. Let's try to slow him down. Right? They need to do the same thing with these defensive ends. Hey man, let's double this dude, man. We got to double him. Let's slow him down. Because if he get going, it's over. And now if he's get going as a defensive end, now Geno can't get in the rhythm, right? And that's the thing. Like if you want to throw the ball, Geno has to get in rhythm. And the only way he can get in rhythm is he need time in the pocket. That's just plain and simple. And you can't keep drafting offensive line, interchanging offensive line, say, oh, it's the offensive line fault, this and that. No, at some point, you got to hold on to them offensive linemen and you got to develop these dudes and you got to, get them help. Football is the ultimate team game. Everybody need help. That's life.
I got to give a shout out to producer Frank before we let you go. You just said something. You just said something about the development of the offensive line.
Right.
Do you know how many Pro Bowl offensive linemen that the Seahawks have had in the last 15 years?
Shoot. Probably, I'm going to say 3, and I play with all 3 of them.
Who's that?
I'm going to say Walter Jones, Max Unger.
And Walter Jones don't count because he was past 15 years ago.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
So 2.
Really 2. So Max Unger and Russell Kuhn.
Yep.
That's
and
it.
only one
Yeah.
has been drafted in the last 14, 15 years, and that was Russell Okung.
Because
Unger was drafted by
Russell was what, 10? 2010 or 11?
Russell was 12.
No,
Wait,
he was 12.
No, excuse me. I thought you meant Russell Wilson. Russell Okung was 10. Yes, 2010.
Yeah. And Max Unger was 9.
Was 9.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, you got. This is the thing, man. I think people get caught up in fantasy football too much. They get caught up in having the numbers of the receiver position to where, if you look at Detroit, let's evaluate Detroit. I guarantee you, and I even looked at the stats. I guarantee you, not one receiver is probably in top 5 in receiving yards in Detroit. Probably not. Do they have good receivers? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Detroit has that a lot of teams don't have, they have guys on their offense and defensive line that have been there long term. And all you need is one on both sides to be the bell cow to have long-term offense and defensive alignment. You have to have one on both sides of the ball. It's the foundation piece to build a successful team is up front. I don't care who you think you are or who gets the fame. It all starts up front. If you have that mentality up front, that's where it starts.
You know what's funny? I remember when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and you remember what they called the Seahawks wide receivers? They called them pedestrians. They used to make fun of the Seahawks wide receivers. Y'all remember that?
And they all were great route runners, great receivers, and they got the job done.
Yep.
And it don't matter what they call them. Got the job done. And they were the biggest, they were the most physicalist. But they got open and they caught the ball when it needed to be, when it needed to be done.
Hey, Bang, I appreciate you joining us. Here's what I hope. I hope that somebody is cutting up this podcast and listen to these things because I'm telling you, Bang.
Right.
Real quick, bro, you need to go into coaching. Now, the last person, hold on. The last person I was doing this podcast stuff with went on to coach. So you need to coach, man.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, a lot of people don't talk about this as much. It's the reason why we were good, not just 1 year. We was good for 4 years in a row. We led the NFL defense 4 years. It's the reason why we put up the things we did on defense is because we have a bunch of dudes on defense that just knew the game. And when you have a bunch of dudes on defense that just know the game, then you create memories, stuff like we did when we was in Seattle. Just so smart, man.
We gonna jump on after this Atlanta Falcons game. We got to talk. They got to win now, Bang. They've already lost. They lost 3 in a row. They got to beat these Falcons, man.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you again, man. I'm not gonna, give it to you, trick or treat candy, man. This is not going to be an easy game. If you look at the Falcons' last 3 games, they all been like grinders, man. Like came down to the last minute. These dudes is riding high and they not playing. Because if you look at that division, everybody really counted them out in the beginning. They said who was going to win the division, possibly chance. They said Tampa, Saints, and they had, I would say they probably had the Falcons at the bottom with the Panthers.
Right.
The Falcons don't look like they ain't no pushovers, man. I'm telling you, they're not no pushovers, man.
All right, Bang. We're going to do this again. Appreciate you joining us, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's time for the producers to chat a little bit ahead of the Seahawks game against the Atlanta Falcons. But a good friend of the show, Mike Salk with Seattle Sports, introduced an interesting concept of accepting a trade for DK Metcalf after what we have been calling a pretty rough 3 weeks. I want to open that up to producers Brady and Paul. The trade on the line for Salk was a first and a third.
For this next upcoming draft?
Let's say spread over the next 3 years.
And was that a trade proposed like mid-season, or is this once
this is like a deadline? We just saw who's been moved. So we saw Devontae Adams and then we saw Amari Cooper. So it's like a response to that in a couple weeks.
And we picked up a defensive tackle if you're just talking about trades. But I think if you're gonna get rid of DK Metcalf in a version of a trade, you're still gonna need to get more than that. I'm more familiar with the baseball style of trades than football style trades. I know in football you trade picks, not players. It's never player for player. Never quite got that because sometimes you need a player right now and you can't hope to get one in the draft if you need it now.
One of the iconic ones involved Paul's team. You had one of the best. What was the quarterback swap?
Yeah. It was an interesting I think this topic is an interesting one because I was looking at the schedule with Brady, and there's still a lot of division matchups still to come. There's still some really interesting matchups with the Seahawks. I don't know if trading DK is going to be the. I don't think the Seahawks are out of it yet this year. I feel like if you're trading DK Metcalf, aren't you punting on not only this season but down the line a little bit? Are you fully confident in all of your receivers taking steps forward? I mean, Lockett being more of a factor instead of just kind of the safety valve. JSN taking a huge step forward, and then getting Bobo more involved into the offense. Are the Seahawks ready to do that right now? And are they in a position where they need to do that right now? I kind of see these trade talks of DK Metcalf a little premature. We're not there. The Seahawks aren't in the position of the Browns or the Raiders. They are in completely two.
Let it out, buddy. We know you're sick of it.
I know.
He has nice things to say about
exactly
Seattle.
Right. No, I know. I've been fighting it this week, so my apologies there.
All right, I got a question there because Amari Cooper got traded. That was a 5th or 6th round pick that was traded for?
I think a 5th.
Wasn't it like 2025, 2026 too for that?
Yeah.
I see Amari Cooper as a great addition to any team, and I think he's worth more than a 5th, 6th round pick, which is why when we talk about DK Metcalf getting traded, I wouldn't even consider trading him unless we got 2 first rounds.
Whoa!
Maybe a 2nd round for the next year, and that's just to start. I'm like, that's our best receiver statistically is DK Metcalf. I know JSN's been clocking in. Lockett's getting a few receptions. Bobo, he's getting a little bit of time. We're getting our tight ends worked in more. But if you take DK out of the mix and you don't have a solution for it this year, you are in a sense giving up on this season.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. It's one, we're not out of it. We're 3-3, and 3 games in 11 days.
We're one game out of leading the division.
Right. We're tied with the division lead. We have lost a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
The thing is, where I differ is I actually do think a 1st and a 3rd is quite a haul considering the contract we're paying DK, considering what other receivers are going for. I think Devontae landed a 3rd. Even though he's much older. So a 1st and a 3rd sounds amazing.
But would we draft what we need with those picks? That's the biggest question I have. It's not as simple as we could.
That's a
use that,
John Schneider question.
and I don't want to
That's a
ask
John
that
Schneider
question because sometimes he's really good at picking up like Devin Witherspoon. Byron Murphy was a good pick. I know he's been out for a little bit now.
Tyrese Knight is an amazing pick
but
right
we
now.
had a stretch of time where it was horrendous in who we were using in our top picks. And where are they?
And I want to ask too. I do think it's a good question. Can JSN be the number one?
I think he can be in time, but this is his first, I would say, full year. Like, you had your rookie season, you got those things out, you see what the NFL's like, you see kind of how the Seahawks specifically operate. But when you're going forward, I don't think he's there yet. I think he can be, but it's going to take another season or two, and you have to transition into that role. You're going to have to transition into getting the ball more, getting double covered more often, seeing your options.
Playing the top corner.
And also, when you start getting double teamed like DK did, it makes you have to be better at your route running and your decision making on the ball, because if you're going to be double covered all the game, only an idiot quarterback's going to consistently throw at you.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of like Devontae Smith with him.
Yeah, I can see
where
it.
there's aspects of the receiver position that he absolutely excels in from the
He's
jump.
He's great at blocking. That's one of the biggest things too.
But like Smith, he needs that A.J. Brown, Herculean receiver to take defenses over the top, be that physical guy. That's exactly what DK is.
You asked about Jason could be a top receiver on this team, and I have one instance in where he can. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if it was just this past week, or no, it was 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it was against the Lions. Gino's going for a run by himself. JSN's got two guys on him, and he's faking them out, thinking the ball's coming over the top, opening the lane for Gino. How many receivers do you see actually fake
incredible.
out defense? Second year in the league.
That was incredible.
And can do that kind of veteran move to deke two defenders and open up the lane.
Yeah, that's out of Devontae Adams' playbook, 100%.
I saw that happen live, and nobody in the Seahawks broadcast noticed it off. I was like, did you just see what he did? He took the defense away and cleared the lane. If Gino was a little bit faster and had the lane, he could have gotten 25 more yards.
How are we feeling about facing Atlanta? Considering we're going to have both our receivers.
I mean, just like what we heard from Bane earlier, it's not as tough of a task as it was like playing against Detroit, but they're the same style of team. They're going to beat you down. They've been doing a lot of battle it out games in Atlanta. Like they have
their last win against Carolina was their first game not decided by one score.
Yeah, it's insane how, I mean, and that's Carolina. I hope you beat Carolina by 2 scores at least. Yeah. But what have the Seahawks done in those close games? It's always we win by a field goal, we lose by a field goal. We need to make it to where we have the lead by at least a touchdown. I am sick and tired of seeing all these last-minute, 2-minute drill drives from the opposing team with our defense on our heels, knowing if we give up a field goal, the other team either wins or ties it. I want to force that other team to get into the end zone. I don't want to settle down for a 40-yard kick, which we'll know they'll most likely make, barring a block. I want to see our defense hold them, offense excel, get us to 2-point lead with 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it's been a lot of bend, don't break. It's been a lot of they'll string together some first downs, and then they get to the 30. They get to the red zone, and then we'll stop them for a field goal. But it's
whose defense is going to give up first. Who's going to get knocked back on their heels the hardest? And lately, it's been us getting knocked back.
One thing I'm really excited about facing Atlanta compared to the last couple teams we've played is we're going against the statue of all statues of quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is not moving. And so if we have a healthy pass rush, that really gives us a chance. And on the reverse side, Atlanta has a pretty awful pass rush of their own right. So hopefully Gino will have time. Our offensive line will have a moment where they don't look bottom 5, which is what everyone has been talking about. I mean, there's just so many bad offensive lines in the league right now. Those two things do give me hope, but of course they're a pretty damn elite running team.
Yep.
And that's the
biggest struggle we have. I saw, I know they talked about it earlier with Bane, but the Josh Jacobs-esque run to seal the game last week, just 76 yards. I saw it immediately. It was like, this is Raiders from a couple years ago. Like, how are you letting this seam just open up and collapsing from the safety position and allowing this guy to get the far outside lane on you? Yeah,
the profanities G laid out were not kind.
Oh, they shouldn't be kind. We need to get angry. We're sucking right now. I got to make fun of Paul's Broncos, but I can't because we suck right now.
I was muted there for a second because I was holding my breath because it's like, Yeah, the Broncos. That was a boring game yesterday. But I'm curious, though, guys, here. Before we wrap up, you bring it up. It is Thursday. It's Thursday Night Football. There's plenty of storylines. Let's not talk about just the game. I'm curious. Do you guys think Sean Payton is in for a warm reception in New Orleans here? And for our audience out there, one of our cameras froze on us, so you're getting an interesting angle of both Brady and Frank here on the couch. But just I'm curious what you guys think of the reception that Payton's going to get in New Orleans.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
You think it'll be positive? He himself was saying that he thinks it's going to be. He doesn't think it'll be a warm reception.
No, it's not going to be breeze, but it's going to be close. I think I also think negative receptions. Well, one, it always depends on how you leave, and
he didn't leave on very good terms. Let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of people that will see that and say he bailed on the Saints.
There's just something I'm trying to compare it because Seattle, obviously, we haven't been kind to Russell Wilson since he's left. I think that'll change when Russell Wilson retires and we spend more time away from his career. But there's something about New Orleans winning that Super Bowl post-Katrina, that tight-knit family that did it, beating Peyton Manning, and I just think there's going to be nothing but love for that because that is their one title. Now, ironically, we're in the same boat. We have one title. We have one quarterback who got us there, and we just gave him a big middle finger when he left, and we're still holding up to this day. At least a lot of fans are. A lot of fans don't even think he's going to make the Seahawks Ring of Honor, which is
that's crazy,
insane to me.
It's an emotional thought.
But I think Sean Payton, it's going to be nothing but hugs and flowers just because that was a really big Super Bowl for that franchise, and that community loves its football.
I think the same way. I think he's going to get a mostly heartfelt welcome back to the New Orleans area and everything, but at the same time, I know there's going to be those few that hold out saying, you were our coach. You're like, he's done with football, I'm going to retire, and then the Walmart bros call him up and be like, hey, we need you in Denver. We're screwed. We need somebody with experience. I mean, once you think about it enough, you could think it's okay. I'm going to coach this team, do a little bit. I shouldn't get the same notoriety I got in New Orleans because this isn't the same team. It's a different time. But I think he's going to get a mostly warm reception. He's going to get a little bit of scrutiny, but it'll be overshadowed by the cheers.
And, at the end of the day, Super Bowls speak louder than a lot of things. And I think you guys are right. But it was just interesting to hear Payton himself say that he doesn't expect a warm reception. All right, guys, great conversation. Let's get to the X's and O's.
I just saw something recently. And you know what it said? It said you have the most amount of friends when you are the worst version of yourself. Isn't that interesting? Have you found that as you start to excel in life, it seems like your circle and your friend group goes like this? I'm telling you right now, that is what happens. When you're not doing well, you're struggling, having a hard time, barely paying your bills, man, you got all the friends in the world, man. Everybody love you. Oh, you the life of the party. And I second that. You have the most amount of friends when you are the worst version of yourself. So I'm telling you right now, as you start to get better in life, you're going to see your group and friend group start to shrink a little bit. And that's okay. The smallest people in your life are the best people in your life. Show me who your friends are, and I'll show you where you're going. You are the average of the people that you talk to on a daily basis. Hey, I appreciate you rocking with me. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.